You know, when you think of names like Ellen DeGeneres or Shaquille O'Neal, your mind probably goes to talk shows or the basketball court, right? But behind the scenes, they're building these massive fortunes in a totally different world, real estate. So let's pull back the curtain and take a look at the playbook they're using, because they're playing a completely different game than the rest of us. Okay, let's just start with a number. $24 million. Just let that sink in for a second. What could that be? The budget for a movie? A lifetime of savings for a whole town? Well, it's actually something way more wild. That's right. That was the profit Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi were aiming for on a single mansion, after owning it for just 4 months. Think about that. They bought it for $22.5 million, put their magic touch on it, and then listed it for $46.5 million. Forget a retirement plan. That's a wealth machine on absolute hyperdrive. And this really gets to the heart of it all. It shows the fundamental difference in thinking. See, for most of us, our home is where we live, where we make memories. It's our biggest asset for sure. But for the super rich, property isn't just a home. It's a business. It's an active investment to be bought, improved, and sold. So let's break down two very different playbooks for this business. First up, we've got Ellen DeGeneres. She's really earned this reputation as the queen of celebrity house flippers. Her strategy, it's all about speed, incredible design, and the power of her brand. I mean, just look at these numbers. They're kind of insane. Over the last couple of decades, she and Portia have flipped around 50 homes. The estimated profit is somewhere around $190 million. But the really wild metric is that last one, an average return on investment of 37%. That's not just getting lucky once or twice. That is a consistent, repeatable, and seriously profitable system. So how in the world does she do it? Well, it's not just about picking out nice countertops. She's basically created a brand, what the real estate world calls an Ellen house. Her personal brand is so powerful and her taste is so respected that just her name being attached to a property adds a huge premium. People aren't just buying a house, they're buying a piece of this curated, high-end lifestyle, and they will pay big money for it. And the pace, it's just relentless. Look at this timeline from just 2020 to 2021. In January, she buys a mansion. By June, just a few months later, she sells it to Ariana Grande for almost double. A few months after that, boom, she sells another place for a $6.3 million profit, and then another one the next March. This is not a hobby. It's a high-speed, high-stakes transaction machine. Now, one of her most legendary deals was the Brody House, an absolute architectural masterpiece. She scooped it up for $40 million. And then, just 6 months later, with hardly any changes, she sold it to Sean Parker, the guy from Napster, for $50 million. That's a $10 million profit in half a year. It just shows you the power of buying the right property and having a brand that makes it even more valuable. Okay, now let's switch gears completely and look at a totally different kind of empire, Shaquille O'Neal. He's the complete opposite of Ellen's strategy. He's not a high-speed flipper. He's a diversified, long-term investor building an empire. For Shaq, you see, real estate isn't the whole game. It's just one slice of a much, much bigger pie. His money is spread out everywhere. Franchises, startups, you name it. He's not just collecting houses. He's building this interconnected web of businesses. And just look at how diverse this is. We're talking about over 155 Guys franchises, car washes, gyms, Auntie Anne's pretzels. He even got in on Google stock before their IPO. Shaq's whole strategy is about spreading out the risk and creating dozens of steady income streams. So here's the crucial difference. When Shaq buys property, he's not thinking about selling it in 6 months. He's building a footprint. He's playing the long game, owning homes and developments all across the country as part of a long-term hold strategy. And some of his projects have a completely different motivation. He's really big on community development. Take the 33-story apartment tower he helped build in his hometown of Newark. Yeah, it's a good investment, but it also provides affordable housing. Like Shaq says himself, just take care of where you're from. So we have these two really different strategies, right? The flipper and the empire builder. But they're both built on the exact same core idea. So let's get into the super rich playbook and see why they invest this way. This table here might look a little dry, but it basically tells the whole story. The ultra-wealthy, they love direct investments, meaning they own the property themselves, way more than things like real estate stocks. And why is that? Well, look at that direct investments column. It gives them total control over the strategy, lets them make changes on the fly, and offers huge potential to add value. That's the power both Ellen and Shaq are tapping into. Let me put it even more simply. With direct investment, you're in the driver's seat. You decide when to buy, what to renovate, when to sell. You're the one calling the shots. With securitized investments like REITs, which are kind of like mutual funds for real estate, you're just a passenger along for the ride. You own a tiny piece of a huge portfolio someone else is managing. Ellen and Shaq? Yeah, they prefer to drive. Okay, so this is all fascinating, right? But what does any of this have to do with the rest of us? I mean, we're not all celebrities. Well, it turns out the core ideas here are actually way more accessible than you might think. This quote right here gets to the heart of it. Most of us think our IRAs are just for stocks and bonds. But there's a special tool out there that lets you use your retirement funds to invest directly in real estate, just like the pros do. It's called a self-directed IRA, or an SDIRA for short. You can think of it as an IRA that's been let off its leash from the stock market. It gives you the freedom to invest in what are called alternative assets, things like rental properties, land, and yep, even house flips. And the best part? All the profits can grow with some seriously powerful tax advantages. And getting started is actually pretty straightforward. First, you open a special self-directed IRA account. Then you find it, usually by rolling over money from an old 401k or another IRA. After you pick how you want to control it, you're ready to go find a property and invest. The one golden rule is simple. The IRA is the investor. All the bills are paid by the IRA, and all the profits flow right back into it, growing your retirement fund. Now, you've usually got two main options. The first is custodial control, which is simpler but slower because the custodian has to sign off on every little thing. But if you want to be an active Ellen-style flipper who needs to move fast, you want what's called checkbook control. This sets up a special LLC that your IRA owns, and it gives you the checkbook. That means you can write offers and close deals instantly without waiting for anyone's approval. Which brings us to our very last and maybe most powerful number of the day. 100%. That's the percentage of the profit you can keep, completely tax-free, when you flip a house inside a Roth self-directed IRA. Normally, a successful house flip would come with a massive capital gains tax bill. But with this strategy, all of your qualified gains and withdrawals in retirement are 100% tax-free. It's like combining Ellen's high-profit strategy with the single best tax shelter an investor can get. So, all this leaves us with a big question, doesn't it? Is investing in property directly the ultimate way to build wealth, or is it just a game that's reserved for the ultra-famous? Well, as we've seen today, while the scale of their deals might be out of reach, the strategies and even some of the most powerful tools are out there for anyone who's willing to play the game a little differently.